morning, everyone, in the room and online. Happy St. Patrick's Day, a day late. Thank you all so much for coming and joining us this morning. We've got a lot to get through and a lot of presentations, so I will straight away hand over to Davina Jeffrey, who is the Country Director for Concern in Sierra Leone.
All right, thank you, Sarah. So, Ambassador McManus, representatives from the Irish Embassy, Sierra Leone government, colleagues from across Concern and the UN, our partner organisations, in particular YMCA, who supported us in putting this event together, and finally, the frankly very impressive group of young people gathered here from Sierra Leone and from Ireland online. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you this morning to this youth-led Climate Smart Solutions seminar. I'm Davina Jeffrey, and as Sarah said, I lead Concern in Sierra Leone. It's a role I'm really proud to hold. It builds on the legacy that was started in 1968, when a group of people from Ireland decided to respond to the Biafra famine. That led to the formation of Concern worldwide. And Concern still has a strong Irish identity and has now been working for the last 30 years to support the people of Sierra Leone. We didn't feel that this 30th anniversary was a cause for celebration. Our presence shows that basic rights are still not accessible to many. Quality healthcare, a healthy diet, opportunities for young people to thrive. And Sierra Leone is one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change. But what we felt is important is to recognise that progress is happening. We continue to learn and we continue to move forward. So on this St. Patrick's Day, we wanted to look to the future. At Concern, we always aim to go to the last mile, and we always aim to raise the voice of those who don't have the opportunity to do so. But actually, in this case, we felt that there was no need to do that, because young people are more than capable of representing themselves. It's our role only to provide the platform. And it's not that hard anymore to make it happen, hopefully, as this online meeting will show, although fingers crossed the technology all works. But we need to take every opportunity we can to step aside. I can't wait to hear what you all have to say this morning. So today we'll first hear from the Ambassador to Sierra Leone from Ireland. Then we shall indeed give the floor to our youth groups. Following that, there'll be an opportunity for questions from those joining online and in the room. And then we'll have a final wrap-up session for reflections and charting the way forward. So thank you to the Irish Embassy for hosting this event and making it possible. And thank you to all of you young people for grabbing the opportunity. I have to say I'm on standby to be inspired. Thank you.
Great position. Good morning, friends in Sierra Leone and online in Ireland. For those of you who were at the pre-summit call last Friday, welcome back for episode 2. And may I wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day, or a happy day after St. Patrick's Day. It really is a pleasure for me to welcome you all to Embassy of Ireland here in Freetown for this youth-led climate summit, marking especially 30 years Concern Worldwide's operations here in Sierra Leone. 30 years really is a long time in the life of any organisation, but it's only the beginning of the climate journey that your generation shaped. Concern Worldwide is an organisation for myself that I know very well. I've worked for the organisation for nearly 14 years. I worked for Concern in Ireland, England, in Haiti, and in Bangladesh. I know the quality of the work. Those people around the world, our commitment to sustain that work over many years. So I was delighted when I first came to work in embassy and free time to know when to visit some of the work that concerns me. Over the past days, you've been doing the hard work, observing actions in your communities, mapping the climate challenges you see around you, and designing practical community-based solutions. Today is about lifting those ideas onto a bigger stage, learning from each other across continents, and showing that youth leadership on climate is not just a slogan, it's not a small, it is happening here, right now, in this virtual group. What excites me most is that this is a genuine exchange, not a one-way lecture. Young people in Sierra Leone and Ireland are both living with floods, heat, changing seasons, and the pressure this puts on livelihoods and mental health. Even if the rains fall a little bit more gently in Dublin than it does here in Freetown. You have different experiences. You share the same determination to protect your homes, your futures, and your planet. As ambassador, I want you to know that your voices matter to all of us. The ideas you present today can shape how we think about cooperation between our two countries, how organisations like Concern design their programmes, and how we talk about climate justice. Please be bold, be factual, and be specific. Policymakers cannot support ideas we have not heard clearly. I'd like to thank the teams from Concern, facilitators and the mentors who have supported you in your journey, and especially to each of you as young people who have chosen to spend your time not just worrying about climate change, but organising and acting and doing something about it. I'm honoured to declare this Ireland Sierra Leone Youth Climate Summit officially open. Or anything. But unfortunately, I can't stay with you this morning, so I have to rush away to another meeting. But I really wish you the best of luck with your exchanges this morning, and I look forward to getting some feedback from my colleagues about presentations. So best of luck this morning. Welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so now the meat of the session. So our first presenter, if we can. Oh, yeah.
Good morning, everybody, both in person and online. So before the youth present their various projects, we just wanted you all to know what has happened and why we are doing this event. So one of the reasons why we are doing this event is to strengthen community-driven solutions by allowing the youth themselves to come up with their challenges and then find solutions to solve those challenges. And then also to empower youth as leaders and change makers. We want to give them the space. That is why even when you are seeing in this room, it's purely the young people. We want them to own that space. That is why we're also doing that. To also encourage collaboration and knowledge exchange. We also want to hear from another country, their own perspective about climate change, as the same as Sierra Leone. So having that knowledge exchange can be able to give a broad understanding to the youth about how climate change is also affecting other countries and how they are solving it as well. So before this main event, we brought together the youth to discuss climate issues affecting their communities for 2 days. And then also, we were able to design their project, the ones that they came up with, and then also did the exchange with Sierra Leone and Ireland to get to know themselves and share some bits of experience around climate. So with no further ado, I want to call on the first presenter who will be presenting their project. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Those in person, please give me a smile. Thank you. And those online, I can see the smile. You can just react by reacting to the smile emoji. I am Rosalind Trudy, and I am from Tree Planting Community. Of course, from Tree Planting Community, I have Khadija Mandela, Shina, and my very self from the Tree Planting Community. So where is tree planting? Person who wants to know, you those online who want to ask, where is tree planting? You've ever heard about Swabe College, University of Sierra Leone, the university where I come from? It is known to be the citadel of hope, the mountain of knowledge. Aside from Swabe College, it's 270 meters away from Swabe College above sea level. And then you move some steps, in fact, 30 meters or 100 meters away from Swabe College. They are situated tree planting community. This tells you that it's an upland community where during the rains, we're opportune to have water. When it comes to the dry season, because of we're staying in the upland community, we are challenged to have water. So tree planting is located at the uplands within the western area here in Sierra Leone, the peninsula. And for the forest reserves, Freetown is one of those reserves, and tree planting is part of western area, but yet we are still challenged. And we have a population of 5,000. Because of that, we have issues when it comes to our key issues of accessing water, during the dry season. Because of that, we brought up our project titled Smart Community Solutions to Water Scarcity. Every drop counts. Why we decided to name this and why for us it's a problem? So we have our problem statement. To increase temperature and shift in rainfall patterns, reduce water flow in tree planted communities during the dry season for Freetown Peninsula catchment. So upland communities get less. Remember, upland community is tree planting. That is the hilly terrain of our community. So because of those problems that we have, during the rains, we have enough water when it comes to the dry season. Because we are up the hill, we see everywhere in Freetown, we are constrained. So we are providing solution as a group because for us, every drop counts. So how are we going to ensure that every drop counts and the water scarcity in my community, we address those issues? It's by promoting community afforestation and reforestation derived in tree planting community. Tree planting is close to where the popular Swabe College is, and everybody wants to go to Swabe College. Because we have a population of young people and other people who want to yearn for education, we have more people going there in terms of getting accommodation. So people yearn, and when they go, they deforestate, they cut down our trees. That affects us getting water. So for us, we want to promote community afforestation and reforestation derived in tree planting. How are we going to do that? We're going to implement community tree planting programs. Yes, we are encouraging people to come to our community because it is nice and you can live there and enjoy. But when you go, you want to plant, you want to get your house or build your house. When you cut those trees, when you cut one, you must plant. So we want to go with a program called Cut One, Plant around the water catchment areas because when it's around the waters, the trees go well and then we have good wind and we have more water. We want to strengthen community capacity and knowledge on water governance. What we notice in our community is that for us, people don't even know that water is a resource. We only know it's the popular dam, but for us, water is a resource. And we in the upland community want our community members to know that water is, the knowledge that we have in water. So how are we going to do that? We are going to conduct training sessions on water rights and climate resilience. Another solution is for us to increase community access to water through rehabilitation, linking with other institutions. We have other institutions who have gone to our community and then they've implemented projects in terms of bringing to us waters. They've rehabilitated tanks. For instance, Concern, they had a project where they brought tanks to our community, but are those enough? We want to use some of those tanks to, ensure that this project will build more water points, increasing more water points. We use those tanks and then put in other communities because in our community we have 5,000 people. Just 2 tanks is not enough. So we want to use this project to build more water point tanks in other areas in our community. We also want to support the use. How are we going to do that? By support the use of existing bylaws. In our community, we have laws that guide us. For instance, when you go to the community, they'll tell you oh, young people, pregnant women are not allowed to use this area. So we're going to use those existing laws to find ways in how we can ensure that water rights is for everyone and we can protect our community because we stay in urban community. So for us, every drop counts and we want to see that this project, these are actions that we are going to use to enhance our project to become successful. We as leaders, we believe that we can do it and we are going to be successful and take up the challenge. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Hello, my name is Sinead, and I'm here today to introduce the Irish group to the proceedings. Before I start, I'd like to say thanks very much for everybody for joining, and thanks so much to Sierra Leone, the team, for inviting us to this amazing event that we're so excited about. I'd like to say a little bit about, I suppose, why we do this work first, if that's okay, and a little bit about climate change in Ireland. So if you can just go on to I'll go back and I'll introduce Owen. My apologies. If we just go to the next slide there for me, please. So as I said, I work for Concern in Ireland. I'm part of the Global Citizenship team. And what we do is that we have the privilege of working with young people in Ireland. I work on a climate change campaign called One Planet for All. And during my time on this campaign, I have worked with young people in Ireland in all sorts of different in all different settings, and really helping young people to understand climate change and then to bring them to a point where they can take action on that. So today we have a group of young people who are really interested in climate change and who have taken action on climate change, and they're going to talk about their experiences and their actions. I suppose I really wanted to start by talking about climate change in Ireland, and it's really, I think, and Pauline has said that at the start, it's really important that we share our experience with the young people in Sierra Leone. Climate change in Ireland is an issue, and it is something that we have been tackling and working on. I suppose you can see there we have a population of over 5 million people, so that's a lot of people. I suppose, in my lifetime, I have, and everybody will tell you this, we have seen drastic change in our weather patterns. We have had a lot of heat waves and an awful lot of rain. It does rain an awful lot in Ireland, but I suppose we've had and we've seen an increase amount of rainfall and flooding. You can see some pictures there on the screen of actual floods that have happened in Ireland. That's in Cork City, where I'm from, and we've had, I suppose, serious problems with floodings for many years in our area. Unfortunately, we have seen the impacts of that. We've seen it on our ecosystems, and we've seen the loss of biodiversity, and it has had massive impacts on our agriculture. Things like grass growth, or farmers saying that things they used to grow 20 years ago, they can no longer grow because it's not sustainable. The next slide there, please. So I suppose the reasons that happen is that, for lots of reasons, but when you look at it, our methane emissions from livestock in agriculture is one of the causes. And I looked up how many cows we have in Ireland currently, and we have actually over 6 million cows in Ireland, which is actually more than the amount of people that are living here. So carbon emissions from our transports, from cars, from buses is another issue. Fossil fuels from industries, from that we have an awful lot of industry, electricity and heating. And I think what's really important about all that, because what we're here today to talk about is actions. And in Ireland, we do have, and really lucky to have a climate action and Low Carbon Development Act, which came out in 2021. And really what that is a law that our government needs to enact. And what's really good about that act, it came from lots of community groups, lots of people getting together, taking action and saying to our government that you really need to do something about that. And thankfully, that act is working. So they are, I suppose, within that act, there's loads of targets to reduce our emissions by 51% by 2030. I suppose, again, I did mention there, in Ireland, we do have lots of community groups, lots of community actions that are helping that to reduce. And that's really, I just wanted to give a taster of what climate change looks like in Ireland. I'm going to now happily hand over to our first presenter, which is Owen. So if you wouldn't mind going back just to there you go. This is Owen, and I'm going to leave him introduce himself. So thanks very much, Owen. I'll hand over to you there now.
Thanks, Sinead. Hi, I'm Owen. I'm a 17-year-old secondary school student from Wicklow in Ireland. I like reading, music, and art, and I have a cat and a dog. Could you go to this slide? Thanks. So these are some native tree signs that I made to kind of create an educational resource for my community. So I saw like what climate education was like in schools, and it wasn't great. So it was kind of trying to engage people in climate spaces. And it's a series of 8 signs across 3 urban green spaces in the town. And they look like that in the corner, where it has the name in English and then the name in Irish and then a pronunciation guide. So that was kind of to, like, Irish people were called Gaels, which means people of the forest. So, like, as a people and as a culture, we're really connected to the land and to the planet. So it's kind of about trying to rebuild that connection with Mother Nature, and kind of to do it accessible to all, accessible within the community, and to kind of create open spaces where people can engage with that. And then all the signs as well were made from this old election poster to kind of have reuse be a main part of it. And all the paints were kind of from ones that had already been used. And yeah, maybe the next slide. And then again, to involve the community, I made this treasure map with a local school. So it was kind of to engage kids even more, where they could go around from tree to tree and like kind of tick it off as they went. And then once you were finished with the map, on the back of it, there was like activities for the kids to do. And you could color in this leaf and then cut it out and attach it to a tree I made out of cardboard and a Pringles can and just an old plant pot. And it was kind of to show the knowledge of the community growing and kind of how everyone's connected to each other and how together when we all come together we create something beautiful. That's it. Thanks.
So much on. That's a really good example of again how young people can take some really practical but really good action on climate change. And I'm sure there was loads of awareness raised by that. So I'm gonna pass it back to the group in Sierra Leone for their next presentation. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mohamed Lamin Kamara for Bailo Kichok Community, Utloko District of Omasamatic Dome. I'm here with my team. I have Aisatu A. Kamara from Bailo Community. And I have Sheikh Bonga also from Bible community. And Mr. Almami Kamara Talk community. Yeah. Here are our possible key issues that we have in climate problems. One here we say salt water intrusion into fresh water. Two, we have limited access to safe and reliable drinking water. We have increased vulnerability of the community to climate impacts. Because of these issues, we came up with a project, a problem statement to carry out these problems. The project titled Community-Based Solutions to Safe Drinking Water in Coastal Areas. This is our problem statement, say lack of access to safe and sustainable drinking water in Kito Bailo community due to sea level rise. From our project, these are our solutions, and here are our actions. The solution, we are to institute local available purification water technology. How it goes, we take the action by training community members on local purification system. We do that. If only time permits, I should have done a sample of how we do it, but as we are moving on for time, we have another solution there. We do an enhanced knowledge in basic wash practices. How we do this? We raise the community awareness on wash practices, as the word implies wash. It is embedded with so many problems in it. We have another one here, solution, protect existing mangroves and other tree species. How it works, planting of mangrove in water catchment areas. How? There are already existing mangroves in our coastal areas. Being that coastal areas is a place which prone to climate change, it can be affected every time. It is unpredictable. We decide to plant trees which we call mangrove. There are others, but we plant others to protect by reducing the speed that the sea level rise come up with. By planting those mangrove, it's going to reduce the sea level rise, where the water come up with speed and move out with speed. By doing so, we hope that we should be able to mitigate the sea level rise of salt water to get into our fresh water that we use to get drink. This is our problem. Thank you.
1 minute for us, because this group has it's a really interesting technology actually, and you do have time to explain just very quickly, explain the purifications.
All right. Like I said, this is the local technology purification I mentioned on our and our solution. The action there says we train community members on local purification system. And here, this is the bulk of water we collect from the rainfall. We harvested it from the rainfall. We also get water on our wells. There are already streams that are very close to the sea. We collect water there and fill up with these tanks, these local tanks. There is a pipe here connected from this one, and this is a membrane, the white one normally we use. We covered it. This shows that this is This is the drinking bucket. There is a pipe connected from this bottle here to this one. And we put it on top of this membrane, and there is a local way that we use, like a tap. By pressing it, the water travel from that pipe and turns it here. And after the process, when the drinking bucket filled, there is some particles stayed up here. And we call on the community to get aware of this. If you take in these particles in your stomach, it leads to a challenge of health. So because of that, we do that. We encourage the community members. We do it by stations so that the community members will get the knowledge of how to provide this water purification local way. This is how we go about it. So,
Lots of applause on that.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, Aoife can't make it this morning. Just something happened that she couldn't make it. But Aoife, so I'm going to present her project. Aoife is part of a program that we run, which is called Concern Connect. It's a program that we have developed to, I suppose, to help young people who are and support young people who are interested in the issues that we work on, to continue working on those actions. So she is part of that group. And her next slide there, please. She is currently in university, and she is studying food systems, and so this is one of her interests. As I said earlier, we are really lucky to get to work with lots of young people, and one method that we use in Ireland is called youth boards, or we have our own youth ambassador program. And really, with these boards, give young people a chance to be represented, and for their voices to be heard. And it is a really good way of working. Aoife is part of a youth board on what's called the Airfield Estate. Airfield Estate is a farm in Dublin, and I suppose what they did is they opened up that farm for people to see how a farm can work in Ireland. It's actually really and again, it's kind of close to the city, and their idea was to show, well, this is how a working farm can exist in a city. Part of that, part of what they do on that farm is that they open it up for people to visit. And again, they use it as an opportunity to educate people. And one of their messages that they developed this youth board, and one of their campaigns that they came up with was a campaign on food, which was, and again, it came out of research that they had done. And the research showed that in Ireland, particularly young people, didn't really know where their food was coming from. Ireland is has a big agricultural sector, and so what they did is that they set up this campaign, and they asked Irish young people to learn about where their food was coming from, and to eat as much Irish food as possible. And again, I suppose the campaign is about raising young people's awareness around where their food is coming from, what food can be grown in Ireland, how to grow it, and to source their food from Irish growers. And what they did is that they asked people to take pictures of their food and to show, restaurants that source local Irish food. And again, it was a very successful campaign. But again, I think what I like about this is that, if people weren't thinking about where their food was coming from, and through this campaign, it is something that, has persisted, and people are really interested in it now. And it also helps the Irish farmers. Okay, thanks. I'm going to pass it back to the next project. Thank you.
Thank you, Sinead.
Yeah. That's fine for you. Yeah.
So for our next presenter, she will be presenting in Creole, and we will do a translation.
So you can tell me your name and you.
Good morning to you all. My name is Kadatre Kamara and my colleague Abulem Kabu and side about the content.
So I'm in a community day.
So I'm calling you this state.
Everything on a problem say on a keep problems say on a get.
Increasing risks, life and poverty. Regional climate hazards affecting communities. Destruction of livelihoods and community well-being.
So now I'm a main problem.
Yes, one of that is our key issues.
Okay.
So, on key issues, we have project title, problem statement. Our project title, strengthening community resilience to fire outbreak and flash floods. So, the project relates on the issue. Problem statement. Frequent fire outbreak and flash floods affecting resilience during dry and rainy season, respectively.
So una solution then for this project for the flooding and the fire. What's another solution and the local result on explain the solution and the for the flooding. Explain yes.
And for explain now.
Yes. Not explain yes.
So we use Sansa for put an inside bag for bag the water, so we go separate the water with the houses then. So that time then now we water they come, go out speed again for camp well with water.
Okay, with small. So they're going to use sandbags. They fill up the sandbags to create a channel that diverts the water when there's flooding to take it away from the houses.
So divert the water.
So then about fire, about flooding.
Flooding.
So where the fire?
The fire, they make fire belts.
Explain that fire belt.
Okay. They brush that side, it's fine. After the brushing, so they left the grass first for letting it dry. That time they now, if you see fire, they come, you go able to wash up, you can't burn that side. So without all that fire, they come and can't jam up together. So that time they now, go get power again for when we property then.
So so they're creating what they call fire belts. So where they're clearing some of the vegetation and leave the grass short, like a wide band around the community.
Yes.
That reduces the risk of the fires. But then if they see a fire getting close to the community, they can set fire to that small bit of grass to create a fire break.
That time, if that one comes together, the power will not too much again.
And that takes the power, it takes the energy out of the wildfire.
So minimally they use fire for stop fire.
Yes. So let me read you the solutions. Establish and strengthen disaster preparedness and response. So we prepare early for that. We go post by post. Or say when I prepare rain season they can or dry season they can for fire. Now long we prepare small.
Okay, just 1 second. So part of their solution is to go house to house in their communities, whether it is before the rainy season or before the dry season, to warn people about the risk of flood or fire and make sure they prepare for it.
Yes. Is there we have the action create community response committee. So we create a group where they go around, go and sensitize people and say, now for say, where in season come, flooding dey take place, or where guy season come, fire dey take place. So we dey make that group dey go around and sensitize people dem for log stop dem with everything. If na brush na you go dey brush earlier, or if na bank na you go dey put sand na the bag, you go layer one time so that way water dey come, no go affect you again.
So they're going to set up these community response committees, and they're the people that do this house-to-house sensitization, mobilize people to do the fire breaks and the brushing of vegetation, or to fill the sandbags to divert the water in the rainy season.
Yes. Enlarge community knowledge and skills on fire prevention. Here we have action, develop early warning mechanism. So let me talk this similar. So we go earlier, they sensitize people then for make them get out with itself say, oh, where the season come, this go affect me, and this part go affect me. This way they can't tell me so, like they can say, flooding when come, with property they all they boil, all things they boil me house, pass I left there, I go another house. So then they are the same, they're similar with you are waiting for.
1 second. So she was just talking there about the committee also giving these early warnings to community members so that they can prepare and mitigate the effects of the flooding, because at the moment, when the flood comes, they lose their houses, all of their property, and it happens every year. Yeah.
Restore and protect natural forest. Organize the action there. Organize community tree planting camps. So we tell people them for make them plant the trees. But we know for say much about climate change is about cutting the trees. So they sensitize people them for make them plant trees them. You cut one tree safe for plant that 2 or 3 trees. So you go replace the one we don't cut. So then they go save we for make flooding or forest. If the forest they around, fire not go take place too much. So that time the way fire they can make out speed.
Okay, so they're also they'll be encouraging the community to plant trees. And also if they cut a tree, to plant 2 or 3 more. The trees help to reduce the flooding. And if there's more forest, there's less of the dry brush, so they have less wildfires.
Work with local traders to create community bylaws. So they put law there in the village. Like for the cutting of the tree, they tell you say that tree they will see cut and not plant other one. They give 50 loans. You know, can the bylaws, the one they will put the committee, they only have responsible.
So they also the committee institutes fines. So if somebody cuts down a tree and they don't plant other trees, then they have to pay 50 leones, which is about €2.
Less than €2.
Less, just under €2. Yeah.
That means working with local leaders to create this community bylaw.
And they'll work with the local leaders, the traditional leaders, and council for bylaws.
When we do the stakeholders in the state and community, select laws for this problem all the guests now community. Likewise, cutting down the tree. Need to put the law, way law there for cutting down the tree to avoid fire. And during my rainy season, flooding. Also, some of them they live nearby the stream. So when we plant trees, it's local trees, so we will help people prevent this flooding. So that means we need to include the stakeholders sitting together and put bylaws for everyone that got that law, which pay a fine. That's what I do stakeholders.
I don't know if that was audible, so we were just reiterating there that working with local leaders to get that buy-in and to create the laws for the tree planting, especially by the stream, so that when the water rises, it reduces the flooding, and to make sure the fines are given out to people if they don't follow the rules. Yeah.
Some of them, like young people, like for example, like flooding, where some drainage will be make, some they take dirty and they throw to that water will be make, so let the water run. Then they all now law will be put down at the stakeholder, select laws.
Right, thank you. So they were also just adding there also bylaws about waste disposal, so that the waste doesn't clog up the water channels, which also causes flooding in the region. Thank
Thank you so much. That's an amazing project, and it's so important that that we're able to work, I suppose, with the people that make the decisions. We need them, we really do. I'm going to introduce our next young person now, and hi, Merit. She can introduce herself when you're ready.
Hello. Hi, my name is Merit. I'm 16. I love to draw and I like theatre and acting, and I have glass ecosystems in my bedroom, like little terrariums. Could we go to the next slide? Thank you. In my school, we have an environmental council. It's kind of like green schools, but it's a bit different. We have one big event every year, and last year we had a biodiversity conference with authors and experts in the field, and people just came in and talked to us, and we did some workshops and then got to talk about them, and it was really great because we got to tell like our whole school and like educate them about stuff like what stuff you should be planting like in your garden, like if you don't know something's invasive, you know, and stuff like native trees and non-native trees, and just because we have like loads of like forests and loads of greenery around us that we kind of wanted people to just know more about it. And this year, more recently, we had an environmental summit with loads of other schools in the area to kind of come together and talk about like a way forward, and if we wanted to be like one bigger collective to kind of like get into bigger stuff like lobbying for change against the government or whatever, or like to see big common issues to like come together. Thank you.
Thanks, Merit. Thanks so much for that. And I think, you know, what's really important about schools in Ireland is, you know, if these opportunities again to take part in these councils, and really a place to learn about really about, you know, what's so important to keep our environment good, really, you know. So thanks so much for that. And I'll just pass back to Paulina for her next group. Thanks, Merit.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Spencer, and we are from the Wellington group. I'm here with my colleagues, beautiful Aminata and sons and gentlemen. I'll start so that climate change is real, climate change is existential, and what I observed from the last that the world is a global community. And I observed that what happened in Ireland also happened here. Ireland are experiencing heat wave. They're experiencing rise in sea level, which we also are experiencing. So one action leads to another. Wellington is located in the western urban, and it's an elevated land, which means you have the high land and the low land. Our key issue based on our project is block drainage system due to poor waste management and practices. Increasing vulnerability of residents to flooding, environmental practices contributing to climate risks. All these are issues affecting us. Climate change, it is existential, like I said before, and it is a human-induced activity. Everything happening around us is based on human activity. The waste management we are focusing on is because of the human activity, and it is human-induced. Our policy statement is flash floods impacting residents of Colbert community due to harmful climate practices, including poor waste management. Like I said earlier, we're focusing on waste management on this community. The reason being, it has come to a notice that waste is a contributor to climate change. Like I said, residents in the island, they do not have a proper way to dispose their waste. They dump it in the river. When rain comes, it washes down the lowland, and they suffer diseases, example malaria, and the burning of waste. It also contributes to climate change negatively. When you burn waste, it emits carbon monoxide, which affects the climate. And also, moving forward. Okay, so as a community, how can we solve this problem? What can we do? Promote environmental education, work with and through community stakeholders, empower community to transform waste to wealth. So promote environmental education, what do we mean by that? Conduct community awareness campaign. Most communities are not aware that climate change is real. If you ask some people, what is climate change? There's no people know. But if you ask them, what are you experiencing? They will tell you that we are experiencing hot temperature. But what is causing that? It's your action that leads to that. So we need to conduct environmental education for them, training for key stakeholders. In every community, there's a stakeholder, that's our first approach. Organizing stakeholders meeting, like I said, environmental committee. For the project to be sustainable, for it to be achievable, there needs to be a committee that will oversee all of this, even after we have left. Provision of waste bin or waste separation. That's one of the issues we are facing, sorting out of our waste. We do not know organic waste from inorganic waste, because organic waste can be decomposed, which you can use for manure, whilst inorganic waste can be recycled, which you can use for other things. But we provide the community with sorting center. We intend to provide the community with a sorting center where this waste can be properly managed, where this waste can be properly sorted. And we are seeing the opportunity in waste. Most people do not know that there's opportunity in waste. Like I said, the recycling purposes, the decomposing purposes that can be used as manure. So that can be sold to farmers. Instead of using artificial fertilizer, you can use your organic manure as fertilizer, which is more advantageous to the land. And also the recycling waste can be sold to factories. For example, the Miller Group, we know that producing plastic can be sold to them after being recycled. you have clothes that can be recycled and be sold. For example, cloth bags and other things, paper. Paper can be recycled and be made. There is tissue, there is this cardboard that is made from all of those things. So while we introduce the aspect of economy into it, it's for it to be self-sustainable. Money is always a motivation. So where there is money, it motivates the community people. So this to practice the smart climate practices in terms of risk management. So introducing all of these components into it, we thought that this would be self-sustainable.
Thanks so much for that. It's what's really coming across is how important our environment is. Really, without it, we really, yeah, we really struggle without it. So thanks so much to that group. I'm going to pass it over to the next group who are coming from an Irish school. So thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule this morning to join us. So I'm going to pass it to, I think, Tommy, Alice, and you can introduce yourselves. Thank you.
So, we actually might just introduce the group, but it's me and Otea that are doing the presentation. Ooh, I don't know if you can see everyone, but hang on.
I guess I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Tommy. I'm 17 years old. Took part in the Concerned debates. Fun fact, I don't know, I guess I'll reuse. I did acting for 6 years.
My name is Alice. I also took part in the Concerned debates. I'm currently 17. I was born here, but I'm ethnically Nigerian. And then fun fact about me, I was part of an orchestra for 4 years.
Hi, I'm Otea. I'm going to be also presenting today. I'm 18 years old, turning 19 sadly this year. I took part in debates last year as well. And I'm really into the arts and all those sort of things.
Hi, my name is Riti, and I'm 18 years old, and we all participate in debate. And a fun fact about me is I was born in Spain.
I think we should go next slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, next slide, please.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so we're doing our presentation based off green schools and pretty much just the actions that we've done in our school, both in secondary school and even as children in our primary schools. And that's kind of pretty much what we'll be talking about in our action project. And yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about the Green Schools program. And as for those who don't know, it's known as internationally as the Eco Schools. For us in Ireland, it was introduced by An Taoiseach, sorry, I can't pronounce it well, in 1997. It is a charity that works to preserve and protect Ireland's natural environment and also to build heritage. Originally, the program started as a pilot in 1992 amongst Denmark, Spain, UK, I think Germany as well, all sort of countries. Ever since then, it has grown nationwide with over 3,000 schools having wear the energy flag, and at least 92% of Ireland's schools have already registered themselves into the green schools. So we made an impact amongst primary schools and secondary schools.
Next slide, please.
Yeah, so this is where we set up in our own school. We actually recently just set up a green school community where occasionally our ambassadors, kind of like students that are ahead of our year, that get to help out and contribute around the school. It's benefited our school positively and also actually influenced a lot. We also got to spread a little awareness as well amongst other classes. We got to go do some talks as well. During the school day, we collect recyclable materials, reduce waste, We save our energy and water, make sure all the lights are turned off, just kind of doing the minimal things, just, that would not take effect. And also in our school, we have a renewable way of using rainwater as our drinking water. I unfortunately couldn't include the video in, but in our school, we have an own water tank where it takes in the rainwater and it converts it to drinking water, which we're able to use in our school to drink.
Next slide, please.
So as part of cultural and biodiversity, our school has also recently been partaking in the school sanctuary, and it's pretty much a school that is recognized for being a safe, welcoming, and inclusive place for everyone, but specifically for those who are seeking sanctuary. So, like for example, refugees or just anything of the sort. And one of the actions that we're conducting as part of starting up School of Sanctuary actually has a bit of a tie with biodiversity and the ecosystem and, being more environmentally friendly, which is growing a garden with plants from different countries. And it's pretty much to promote cultural diversity and also biodiversity. And it ultimately, obviously, benefits the ecosystem because planting, flowers and trees and things of that sort, it obviously has a good impact on the environment. It takes in CO2, brings out oxygen, just like something. So that's what we're doing for School Sanctuary as well.
Next slide, please.
And alongside School of Sanctuary and the Green School Committee, we've also started to support the return scheme, which for some of you that don't know, we have for different plastic bottles or even cans, if they have this little logo that is at the bottom here, the return logo on it, what they do is we can there's little stations where you deposit the plastic bottles and they give us vouchers in return, little pieces of vouchers. And it's essentially just to promote recycling and ultimately benefit the environment. And our school has adopted that, where we have different return bins around the school, so it's specifically designed for these bottles and cans, so that if students do have water bottles or any sort of cans that can be used for return, that they can just place it in the school bins and the school will ultimately go and then
their side. Yeah, I think it's their side. Sinead,
Yeah.
you're still on. Yeah.
Well, I'm so sorry. I think we've lost them, unfortunately. But that's I think that was really the end of their presentation. A really good example. Oh yeah, thank you so much. A really good example again of how important early education is in our schools. I think that Green School program they're talking about has had a massive effect on young people about learning how to raise their awareness about their ecosystem. So again, a really important part of our education system. So thanks so much, guys, for coming, taking some time out of your school day and presenting for us. That was a really good project. Thank you.
Thank you all online for joining, and we hope to see you at our subsequent events.